Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today about smarter decisions start with better reporting here at AccountsIQ. Bit of information about us before we begin. I'm Jack. I'm one of the account executives here at AccountsIQ. I help many businesses streamline their whole financial function. And then obviously today we're going to focus on reporting as that can kind of be a key area. All right. And I'm joined with my colleague, Zaina.
Nice to meet you guys, everyone, virtually. I'm one of the pre-sales consultants here at AccountsIQ. I have a background in audit at EY. I'm an accountant, so I usually come in on calls during the sales stage, at a demo stage, just to show everyone the platform and the features and unlock how that could fit in with your current business processes.
Perfect, lovely stuff. So the format of today, we're going to run through a number of slides about AccountsIQ, a bit about why businesses choose us, kind of our reporting functionality, different things around that. Then we'll get into a product demo, so we can actually get hands-on and show you the system and show you where you can kind of make those efficiencies with AccountsIQ. And then we'll kind of obviously finish at the end. They can, if you've got any questions or anything, feel free to put them into the chat box that you can see here, the Q&A box. And we'll probably put some polls on the screen that you guys can kind of vote in as well at some point. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on. So a little bit about AccountsIQ. If you hadn't heard of us before, we are coming up to our 18th year. So we're a pure cloud platform. So we've never been an on-server product or anything like that. We're a pure cloud platform with over 35,000 users in over 85 different countries. So something that Zaina will touch on later around consolidation, but we do support obviously multi-entity, multi-currency consolidation. And obviously being a pure cloud platform makes it kind of brilliant for businesses that have entities all around the world. All right. How we do it. So this is, like I said, our how we do it, but it's also why AccountsIQ, I think, about what makes us special. So the first thing to know I want to say here is that we do everything in-house at AccountsIQ. So we don't outsource anything. So we don't deal with third-party vendors that will take your implementation or anything like that. We do that all in-house. Okay, so hence why you can see there on the screen our customer satisfaction rate is so high. So it's 98%, and that's over our whole lifetime. And like I said, the reason that's so high is because we do it all in-house, and we are a very customer-first organization. It also means, though, that doing things in-house, we can kind of save you guys time and also costs. So our average implementation time is 4 to 6 weeks, which is a fraction of some of those other kind of mid-market and ERP systems in our space there. Okay, and obviously because we're doing it in-house, you don't have that massive cost to implement the software either, because we can afford, like I said, we're doing it in-house there. Okay. Couple of other things to note here. 99.9% uptime. We sit on the Microsoft Azure servers. Just good for you guys to be aware of that. And then we have a 27-minute average response time to a support ticket being raised in the system. So as I mentioned previously, we do everything in-house. So all support is dealt with in-house as well. Don't deal with any AI chat robots when it comes to support. So you can speak to a member of the team directly. And like I said, they'll start actioning your kind of query or whatever it might be in 27 minutes. All right. Moving on from that then, just talking about where we fit in the marketplace. Hopefully some of you watching today will be familiar with AccountsIQ and familiar with where we kind of fit in. But this is just a nice little graphic to kind of show you that visually. So coming off those entry-level systems like your QuickBooks, your Xeros, your Sage 50s, but maybe not ready for the cost and complexities of the bigger systems out there, kind of your NetSuites, your SAP. We sit in that kind of mid-market space, as you can see there in the picture. Again, why AccountsIQ? This is a bit more of a, I guess, technical reasons. So as I've already touched on the multi-entity, multi-currency consolidation. So we facilitate obviously that group accounting element that you can do within AccountsIQ. So you can get rid of multiple licenses of like a Xero or a Sage 50. You can have the one AccountsIQ license with all of your entities under that there. We also have a fully open API. So any kind of integration that you guys might want, whether that's obviously a file-based integration or full API integration, we can do that. We also do it internally, like I said, so we don't outsource anything. So from an integration standpoint, that means we have our integrations team fully done in-house as well. And when you're looking to go through the process with the AccountsIQ, we can bring in some of our integrations team to kind of have calls with your integrations team, whatever it might be, to kind of help you kind of ease your mind in terms of how those integrations go, because sometimes that can be obviously a stressful element of bringing that into finance as well. So we can kind of help you guys with that as well. Award-winning customer service. I've touched on how we're obviously a customer service first organization. So we have won awards for our customer service. So worth obviously mentioning that there. Couple of ones on the left-hand side, as you can see here, automation of kind of everyday processes. So AccountsIQ, kind of what we're trying to do is automate a lot of your manual processes, so giving you more time for those key business decisions, and do what you guys are paid to do within finance. And then the last two there, you can see business intelligence and simplified financial reporting, obviously the kind of focus of today's webinar. So we have over 250 standard reports in the system here at AccountsIQ. Now, don't worry, I won't be going through all 250 reports today. We will just show you a snapshot of some of the reports and the reporting functionalities within AccountsIQ. But obviously, it's a great kind of increase in functionality that you get from either of those entry-level systems that don't offer the same level of reporting functionality that we do here at AccountsIQ. Often require different add-on tools, and it can get very complicated, but we have that kind of all in the system here at AccountsIQ. And then we've got our business intelligence or our BI codes or analysis codes within AccountsIQ. So we can talk through them when we go through the demo, but effectively it's going to give you extra layers of analysis on top of your chart of accounts. All right. Moving on though. So what does the right system look like? This is probably maybe something that you guys are thinking about in your spare time, or how do you know when you need to move to the right system, or what are you trying to achieve from moving to the right system? So this is what I guess the right system looks like for us here at AccountsIQ, and I think a lot of you guys will probably agree. It's probably something similar that what you guys are looking for. So seamless integrations, as I mentioned, the integrations team in-house. So making that process very seamless, user-friendly, and we'll obviously go through the system and show you the layout shortly. Scalable. So you don't want to be moving finance systems every 2 years. You want to stick on a system and stay there for a long time. So we have businesses kind of on that more entry level coming straight off those systems, but they're growing kind of year on year, and are still with AccountsIQ, and the functionality is obviously still there within the software. And then obviously real-time insights and automations, different things that we can bring into the platform to kind of speed things up for you and kind of give you more visibility on the business. All right. So I'm going to move on to my product demo now. Okay. Again, any questions, any points we can kind of touch on? We'll just come through the, let me just share my screen first of all. I'm just going to answer a question that we've had here. Will the recording be sent out after the demo? Yeah, we can facilitate obviously sending that on to you guys as well. Okay. Let me just take this over here, and then I'm just going to share my screen for you guys.
We also do have some poll questions, which you're invited to vote on. It would just be good to understand kind of what are your current pain points at the moment, where are you, what software are you using at the moment, and what is stopping you from moving as well.
Perfect. Lovely stuff. Thank you, Zaina. Can you all see my screen there? Zaina, has that come up?
Yeah, it's come up.
Perfect. Lovely stuff. So I've logged into AccountsIQ here. I'm using Microsoft Edge, but you can use Google Chrome, Safari, whatever software you guys, obviously, whatever browser you guys use to access your finance system. You can do that here. Okay. As I touched on previously, Zaina will touch on consolidation towards the end. But you can see here, I've got a number of entities and I've got consolidation layers, and I've also got a sub-consolidation layer here set up from here. Okay. Just before I jump into the entity, I'm just going to show you our maintain user profile, because this is another powerful tool within the system. So other systems have something similar to this. However, it's a lot more granular within AccountsIQ in terms of granting or restricting access to different parts of the system. Okay, and it comes right down to obviously any kind of page in the system, but right down to a report and dashboard level as well. So this is why I mentioned it. Obviously, for reports, instead of having to send reports manually through email or whatever it might be to board members or anybody else in kind of C-suite, you can give them access as a business user. They can come in here, they can view reports, view dashboards, and you know exactly what they're viewing, and there's kind of no worry that they're kind of messing with the numbers or doing anything that they shouldn't do, because you can kind of lock them down to that. All right. Let me log into the entity we've got set up here in this demo environment. So this is our Alpha UK entity. As I've logged in, it's brought me into our homepage. Okay, so this is a new feature that we had launched at the end of last year within AccountsIQ. It's a combination of activity tiles and insight tiles. There's currently about 40 tiles here, but by the end of the year, we're looking to get upwards of 100 to 150. And this is also one of the areas of the system that we're going to continually develop after it's obviously launched at the end of last year. Okay. Now, what this is, we see it as, is a bit of a task manager for finance. So you can kind of come in here. For example, I'll just show you my activity tiles I've set up. As you can see, I've set up quite a lot around AP side of the business. So if I work on AP, I can look in here and I can see my activity tiles for what needs to be done either kind of today or this week, or just give me an overall quick kind of snapshot of the visibility of what I need to be aware of as well. Okay, and then I've got little insight tiles here, so kind of nice little dashboards. These aren't our main dashboards in the system. We'll touch on those towards the end here, but it's nice little insight, like I said, exactly, insight tiles by name, insight tiles by nature. So it's going to give you a bit of the insight around certain parts of the system. So obviously here I've got my top 5 suppliers overdue, and obviously my trade creditor aging that I've got set up here. Just a nice little snapshot from there. All right, bit of kind of functionality around kind of moving through the system just before we kind of dive into some of the reporting elements. You can toggle between your entities in the top left-hand corner, and we also have a global search at the top right-hand corner. So if I search sales, it's going to bring me anything sales related right down to a report level there. All right. Overall navigation of the system, as you guys will see on the left-hand side, is where we have all the different parts of the system. So I'm in the home page here. We've got our AR, AP, items, bank, GL, intercompany, fixed asset register, reports, dashboards, and then our setup screen here. I also have the ability to favorite certain reports as well. So I favorited or pages, sorry. I favorited the transaction browser. This is a screen I use quite readily. I can come up and I've got my favorite section here, and I can also favorite certain reports so I can run them nice and easy at touch of a button there. All right.
So just to note, this session is primarily on reporting, but based on kind of those modules that Jack has listed. So we've got a full P2P process on the AP, including automations such as PO automation, OCR invoice scanning, multi-step flexible approvals. Within the general ledger, you've got your key automations around prepayments, accruals, FX revaluation journals. Intercompany, we've also got auto balancing on intercompany transactions. But this session is primarily focused on reporting, but I just wanted the audience just have a quick insight into what other features there are available.
Perfect, lovely stuff. Thank you for that, Zaina. So I guess best place to start is in our GL, is in the general ledger, and then we'll come into the GL Explorer in a second. But just to note, we have a 3-tier chart of accounts at AccountsIQ. So you've got your category, your subcategory, and then your GL codes. So moving into that GL Explorer, that's the best place to kind of show you that here within the system. I'm just going to make that bigger for everyone so we can see that. So looking at this here, we've got our category, our subcategory, and then we've got our GL codes sat behind those there. All right. Anything in blue in the system has drill down functionality. So I can drill down and I can see the transactions that are sat behind those there. Okay. Number of reasons why I kind of wanted to show you this drill down screen. You have the ability to kind of export any grid screen out to Excel should you guys wish to. You can also customize the grid screen. So I might want to add in currency, for example. And I can also use these as kind of search bars within themselves at the top. So if I want to search euro, for example, it's going to bring up all of those euro transactions in this drill down screen there. All right. Lovely stuff. I also have the ability to edit transactions from this screen. So if I have the right user permissions, I can edit the transactions, and you'll see a nice little blue flag to show that something's been edited. The most important thing about this, though, is it will obviously leave a full audit trail and a kind of a change log for what's been changed, who changed what, and when they changed that there. Okay. The final thing from a kind of reporting standpoint from these grid screens that you can use, which is quite powerful, as I obviously mentioned, that you can kind of drill down and see the currencies. For example, if I drill down, like I said again, and come into euros, I can then see those euros transactions behind there. And then I can kind of set and save filter conditions so that next time I come in here and I can pull up I can reload the filter condition of the search that I made last time. All right, so nice little kind of mini reporting tool within itself there. Okay. Back into the GL Explorer then, and I'm sure you guys probably noticed that when I opened this screen for the first time, you've kind of got the 3 key reports at the top of the screen. So this obviously isn't our main reporting tool within AccountsIQ. It's just a snapshot of the 3 main reports. So you've got your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your trial balance there. I can view these at a period or a year to date. I can compare actuals versus budget, or actuals versus revised budget. Okay, and as you can see, I've got my actuals and my budget here for April 25 and a variance percentage. Okay, we can then add our analysis on top of that. So within AccountsIQ, you can have up to 6 dimensions. As you can see here, I've got department, location, projects, and revenue streams. So I've got 4 dimensions set up in my demo environment here. But I can run these, and then underneath the dimensions, you have unlimited elements. So I'm just going to run a quick actuals versus budget for April 25 for Project Alpha. And I can view this here. And as you can see, I've seen that I've got my chart of accounts there, and I can view that there. All right. We can also show you towards the end of what this would look like on a consolidated level as well, because you can also get this kind of GL Explorer on a consolidated level there. All right. Lovely stuff. Moving on from the GL Explorer then, I'll just touch on our dimensions briefly, just to kind of hopefully provide a bit more clarity for everyone watching here. So as I said, you can have up to 6 dimensions. We've got 4 set up: department, project, location, and revenue stream. And then underneath that, I've got unlimited elements. So I've got unlimited departments or unlimited projects or whatever I might want here. Okay. Then the power comes with these dimensions when I bring in my BI codes or my analysis codes. And then this is what you're tagging to transactions or journals that are going to pull through for your reporting, which we can kind of show you again towards the end. Okay, just going to kind of talk through the codes here. I've got one code here, ABD, and this is for Aberdeen. And that's tagging to the location dimension that I've got set up here. So I can make it a nice and simple tag for just one tag to the location. Or I've got audit, project TAO, Los Angeles, and grants. And that's tagging up to each of the dimensions I have set up in this demo environment. So this is giving me an extra 4 layers of analysis on top of my 3-tier chart of accounts there. All right. Lovely stuff. I'm going to move on now to...
There. Sorry, Jack, I've just launched a poll over there just to ask the audience, what accounting system are you currently using? So kind of feel free to vote on that poll if you want.
Perfect. Lovely stuff. And again, at any point, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ping them in the Q&A box. Me or Zena can get back to you as we're kind of going through, or we can, like I said, touch on some of those at the end. And if anybody does have any other questions that they obviously don't want to ask today, worth mentioning that we can obviously go through these privately. So if you did want to message either of us privately, we can kind of, you can do that. Feel free to do that at the end, and we'll leave all our details so you can get in contact. All right. Perfect. Moving on then, so from our dimensions, I'm just going to come into our report manager just to show you some of these reports here. Okay. So as I mentioned, we've got over 250 standard reports in the system across all different parts of the system as well. So you've got reports on AR, obviously AP, anything around multiple reports that you guys will use. Bank items, GL, and obviously a number of variations on various standard reports, such as the profit and loss as well. Okay, so you can have all different variations of that. Just going to show you some reports here in this entity view anyway. I'm going to show you the extended business analysis by dimension, and then I'm going to show you the management report pack as well. Okay, so the extended business analysis, I'm just going to start with, I'm going to show you how we can kind of layer it up. So I'm not going to bring in any kind of dimensional analysis on this. I'm going to take away my budget, and I'm just going to view this here. I'll show you what this looks like at this level. You can also take these reports out to full screen mode, which I'll do later when I've kind of built this report up. But as you can see, this report is it's pretty standard, not really that useful, can't really do too much to it. Obviously, it still has the blue, so I could just drill down and see the transactions that sat behind those, but it's quite a basic report in this level, let's say. Okay, I can then start to add in a budget or a revised budget should I want to. So I'm just going to add in the budget here. So I'm layering to the same report, still the extended business analysis, but I'm just adding a little bit more to that. So as you can see here, I've got the period amount, but I've got my budget and I've got my variance and my variance percentage. So I'm starting to get a little bit more analysis here from this same report. And then finally, I can bring in kind of my dimensions here. So I'm going to bring in projects, for example, and I can bring in the projects that I want to kind of report on. So I'm just going to say these ones, for example. I'm going to click OK. And as you can see, I've got my projects now set up, so I can decide the GL subcategories. I can also decide the level of detail I want to go down into, so right down to that GL account level. I can then view that report, and that's going to pull that report up. And as I said, I can also take that out to full screen, so I can load that out. So then when I come into the system, I can work away, and then all I can do is come back out to that and refresh that screen there. But as you can see here, so from where that first report was, you can see what we've got now. We've got that analysis with our projects. Obviously, this can be tailored to whatever you want those dimensions to be. So it doesn't have to be projects, doesn't have to be revenue streams. It can be whatever you guys want it to be. But there's certain areas of the business you want to analyze. This is a great way of obviously having that in this report here, our extended business analysis. And then you can see it across all the different projects there, across the chart of accounts here, and it'll give you obviously the totals at the bottom. So a nice big report to have within the system. Also within the actual report manager, you'll see I've got my own little tabs at the top. So from where this report is, going back to where it started, you can kind of see the development of just kind of changing some of the parameters that we've got here for this business, this extended business analysis report there. All right. I can also email this out of the system should I want to as well. So just worth mentioning, I can bring this out send this over to someone. So if I might want to send this to Zaina, I can just @Zaina and I can tag her, and then I can obviously email that out to her from the system. So she doesn't have to have a business user license to then obviously have this. I can just send it out to her and she can see it from this way there. Okay. So that's the extended business analysis report. Hopefully, I think you guys will agree it's very powerful, and especially how you can kind of layer it up. The next report we're going to show you is our management report pack. Part of the reason I want to show this report is we can take this report out to Excel. So it would just be good to show you how easy it is to take things out of the system to Excel. It is one of our most...
report is, as Jack's saying, so this report is probably our most used report just because it consolidates 5 to 6 key different reports just into one Excel file or one PDF file ready to export and distribute. And what's great about the management report pack is that you'll be able to produce a management report pack based on your dimensions. So say if you want a management report pack based on a certain department or business unit or projects you can report on, you can take that out into Excel and kind of slice and dice it in that way.
Perfect. Lovely stuff. Exactly, Zaina. Let me just drag this across from my second screen, everyone. So as you can see, I've taken that out to Excel. So I run the reports for April 25. So as you can see, I've got my KPIs for April 25. Well, we can touch on, I think Zane's touched on just there about some of the edits that we can have. So you can kind of customize some of around the KPIs specifically. Obviously, we understand that every business's KPIs are different. So you might want to see something else here in this kind of KPI screen as you kind of open the management report pack, which we can obviously facilitate for you guys. We also have a number of graphs on this report as well. There's also a profit and loss month versus budget. As you can see, we've got the little tabs along the bottom here. P&L month versus last year. P&L month forecast. We've got our balance sheet, got a cash flow statement, and we don't lose that drill down even though it's come out of the system. So you can still drill down here, see the code sat behind those. Various graphs across sales. And then we've got our debtors and our creditors here as well. Okay. Zaina will also touch on this on a bit of a consolidated level to show you what that will look like with some of the reports as well. But this is obviously on an entity level for Alpha UK there. Okay. Worth mentioning as well, I'll just close this down. Worth mentioning with our reports and AccountsIQ, you'll also see this custom section here. So we have an in-house reporting team that can build any report that you guys would like into the system. So you can actually have it embedded into the system. So that's one of the options we have. There's also the option around the OData connector to Power BI that, again, Zainab will touch on shortly. So that's another option you have within the system when it comes to reports, or kind of having your own reports there within the system. All right. Now, moving on from our reporting manager, like I said, I won't kind of take up too much of your time and go through 250 of them because we'd be here to the end of the day. But we're moving on, and we're going to touch on some of our dashboards. Okay, so one of the dashboards I'm just going to show you is our financial overview dashboard. So let me load this up here. So the nice thing about the dashboards within AccountsIQ is you still have the comparison along the left-hand side here. So you can kind of toggle between these. You can kind of toggle this over projects, or see it for, you can see your overview for per project or per department or location, whatever it might be that you want to see that on. But there's obviously some nice graphs that you can see here of the income versus expenditure versus for the last 12 months. You can see your kind of gross profit year to date. A lot of information here that, again, will be very popular with C-suite members of staff. And you can give them access to this so they can kind of go around, have a play in themselves without obviously messing up any of the kind of the figures within finance, and also without having to constantly email you asking for more reports to be sent or whatever it might be. They can kind of self-serve through the dashboards and the reports within AccountsIQ. So that's our financial overview. And then obviously just a profit and loss dashboard, just to show you that'll be kind of worth mentioning. So as you can see, I've got my profit and loss here, my profit and loss dashboard. You can see operating income, gross profit. I've got my profit and loss KPIs that are here. I can view this obviously for a different financial period. So I might want to just view this for June 25. And then I've got my comparison again. So I can view these at a year to date or a month to date. And then I can use my comparison of last year, last month, budget, revised budget. Most importantly, though, this is where the dimensions come back into it again. So if we touch on projects like we did earlier, I can run this report, I can run this dashboard for those 4 projects that I selected. So I've got all of the profit and loss information for those 4 projects. And I can also see the net profit and split by those projects here. So as you can see, I've got the net profit split. So I can see what projects are performing better than others. And I can also drill down behind that, and I can see what department makes up those projects as well. Okay, so you can really drill down more than just on that kind of singular level with projects. You can drill down through department, location, all at the same time as well there. All right. Any questions on anything I've touched on so far, guys? Obviously, feel free to ping them into the kind of the question box there. I'm going to unshare my screen now, so then Zaina can come and show you the non-financial metrics that we have, or the non-financial dashboards within the system.
Yep.
So I've just unshared my screen there, Zaina, and then you can share yours when you're ready.
Yeah, and what I'll also do, I will launch another poll for the audience as well. But on the dashboards which I wanted to show, that would be regarding the non-financial KPIs that we've brought into the platform. Can you see my screen over there?
Yep, that's all good.
Perfect. So we brought out non-financial metrics into the system, so you're able to analyze your non-financial data against your financial data in a nice single unified dashboard. You'll be able to customize and kind of define what your non-financial metrics are. So we've got some general ones here, such as headcount, employee engagement score, the close to win ratio, customer acquisition cost. All different ratios that apply to your business and your industry can be defined in your system in AccountsIQ, and you can import them across your periods. But what you can also do is you can import them on a granular level, on that analysis structure level. So you could have non-financial KPIs and have them across your different departments or your different projects or locations. This is a standard one where you'll be able to compare your non-financial metrics against your finance data, but you can take it as far as you want with our in-house reporting team. So we work with schools quite a lot. So we have a school dashboard for that industry. And as you can see, we've got non-financial data such as registrations or the average fee income or utilization percentage. And I'm able to directly compare these metrics against my finance metrics, such as kind of my income year to date, my expenditure year to date, my operating margin. This is great for kind of board members, trustees, for them to see these dashboards come into the system and see kind of the group structure and the group metrics as a whole. Again, you'll be able to have this at entity level and at consolidation level. Moving on from non-financial KPIs onto consolidation. So just to quickly touch on intercompany, we've got a full intercompany module where you'll be able to have two-way connections, and you'll be able to do recharge and non-recharge transactions, and it will auto-generate the other side of any intercompany posting for you. Upon those intercompany transactions, when you do decide to consolidate, all those intercompany transactions will be auto-eliminated. But just touching on kind of your group structure for consolidation, as Jack mentioned at the beginning, you can have an overall consolidation layer, such as this one, and that's consolidating up beta, gamma, sigma, and alpha. But then what we have is a sub-console layer, which is just consolidating up my 2 UK entities. So you can get really flexible with your reporting and your group structure as well. All the group structure is controlled within our consolidation manager. So we've got our entity groups over here. I'm also able to control my consolidation exchange rates. And what I can also do for consolidation is roll up my budgets. So if I have a budget and a revised budget at an entity level, I'm able to roll them up to my consolidation layer so I can compare my consolidated balance against a consolidated budget. We have one-click consolidation at AccountsIQ. So all you'd have to do is click consolidate. And what that will do is verify the consistency of certain details, such as your chart of accounts, making sure one GL code in one entity doesn't mean something completely different into another entity, making sure and your analysis structure is aligned. And this one-click consolidation is great, especially if you're consolidating and exporting all your data out into Excel. There's a lot of version control risk, there's a lot of human error. All you'd have to know is once you click consolidate and all these checks are done, you know that when it comes to going into that consolidation entity, you're looking at the most up-to-date data. So this is running and it's rolling up all the most up-to-date data into the entity. And if there were any inconsistencies, there would be a sharp X and it would direct me to where in the system that that inconsistency is. So it'd say 1000 GL code in one entity is not correct. This usually takes 60 seconds to 90 seconds. And when it is done, there'll be kind of all green ticks as it says here. If I come to that console entity, you'll see on the left-hand side, there aren't as many modules as we saw on the individual entity layer. But just to note, you still are able to post any post-consolidation adjustments from this entity. If I come to the GL Explorer, which we saw at the entity level, which Jack showed us, we have our 3-tier chart of accounts, but what we also have is an extra layer when we come into the console entity, as we can see all the entities' balances feeding up into that consolidated balance. And what I can also do from here, I can drill down into the transactions for that entity. Again, we don't lose the analysis structure level at the console layer, so I can analyze by departments across my group. But what I wanted to show you were the number of reports and dashboards within the consolidation layer. So within the report manager, you'll be able to access a suite of reports such as your consolidated profit and loss, your profit and loss by period summary. You'll also get the same report pack as Jack showed at an entity level, but on a consolidated layer. And what we also offer is an intercompany matrix. So what I'll show you is that consolidated P&L and how easy they are to run. You can run it against a budget. So again, you can roll up your budgets into there, and you can also slice and dice that consolidated P&L based on your analysis structure. But I'll leave it kind of on an overall level again. I'm also able to select which entities I want to include in that report. So if I can pick and choose which entities I want. And if I view that one here, that will give me my consolidated P&L year-to-date view with the entities sitting side by side. So as you can see, I've got my consolidated year to date and then entities sitting next to it with the budget and the variance analysis, and we don't lose that drill down. Any report you can export out, so you can Word, Excel, PDF, take it out of the platform for reporting. Another key one which I wanted to show was that intercompany matrix. Especially kind of for my audit days, these intercompany matrices takes hours to prepare and to kind of ensure they're correct. So to know that you'll be able to run that intercompany matrix on the most up-to-date data is invaluable for teams. You'll be able to see all your connections and the transactions going through those entities, and you have that drill down ability to see the actual transactions making up that balance. On dashboards, we've got a suite of dashboards regards to your sales, purchase, and general ledger. Some key ones which I wanted to show you was the consolidated expenditure dashboard. I'm able to view my expenditure split, first of all, by each of my entities, but maybe I wanted to view my expenditure split across my projects, across all my entities. You'll notice on the left here, we've got these tags, which I can slice and dice it. So I'm able to see which entities I want in view, maybe just one or two entities, and I can see the projects happening under those two entities. And I also want to find out for these departments, under these two entities, what projects are happening under them. Again, the budgets are rolled up, so I'm able to view my achieved versus comparison for actuals versus your budget or last year's actuals. I can see the categorization of my expenditure against categories or subcategories. And again, as I said about non-financial KPIs, you can roll them up onto a group level. So those are the dashboards and everything on consolidation I wanted to touch on. What I'll now move on to is the OData connection. So the OData connection is, as we sit on the Microsoft Azure server, we have Microsoft products embedded, and you're able to connect AccountsIQ to Excel and Power BI via the OData feed. And we find that a lot of our clients like this, as it means that for reporting purposes, any disclosure notes, or if you want to be sharing reports with different members of the team, but they don't have access to AccountsIQ, you'll be able to prepare this report, send it to them, and all they'd have to do is click refresh. So I've pulled maybe, I think it was a TB data set into Excel from AccountsIQ. It's a live link. I've brought in my analysis structure. I've brought in my period, my budget variance, my revised budget. And I've created this pivot table. I've saved it down. So now every time I come back to it, I just click refresh and it will live update to the most up-to-date figures. You don't lose that drill down ability when you take it out as well. And you're able to, again, have that analysis structure, maybe get a project split, maybe analyze on your aged debtors from here. You can add some bucketing, maybe look at your 31 to 61 days as you wish, include any disclosure notes. So there is a lot of flexibility when it comes to the OData connection. And this is the possibilities that you can have in Excel, but in Power BI, it's the same story. So this is a report pack which we provide you during onboarding, and it's kind of a pre-made Power BI report pack, which you'll be able to connect AccountsIQ to Power BI with, and all your figures will update. So you've got your P&L summary, your P&L monthly, your balance sheet summary, your balance sheet monthly, and your trial balance. As I said, this is a pre-made one which we offer, but if there is someone in your team who does know how to create analysis in Power BI, they can create that connection and create that analysis as so. Perfect. That was everything I wanted to show for today's session. But if there are any questions, feel free to add them to the Q&A box, and we can kind of continue sharing our screen and show you that area in the platform.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll just move on, put the slides back on there, Zaina, as well. One thing to note, what I will also just do is I'll add also a link here. So that should have popped up on the screen now for you guys. It's going to be a link to my calendar. So feel free to obviously book time in my diary. As you can see there, it's just popped up here, click here. So it's a link to my calendar. So we can go through more of a product demo. touch on other parts of the system around AP, whatever it might be. Obviously, if you want to look at bank or however we do anything really at AccountsIQ, obviously feel free to click this link and kind of book that in with my calendar as well. And around that, we can obviously be a bit more tailored around the business that you guys are, with what you guys deal with and how AccountsIQ can work for you. The other thing I've just got here that we've kind of touched on, I've just got a bit of a case study to show you guys about IFX Payments, one of our customers in the SaaS space. Obviously, they're a tech business. I typically deal with tech businesses here at AccountsIQ. So I obviously don't need to talk through the screen. I'm sure you guys can see that all and kind of work out what we did for IFX Payments. But the reason I just thought I should bring in one case study onto the screen is just to also mention to you guys, feel free to check out our AccountsIQ website. The AccountsIQ website has a load of great case studies on there as well. It also has an interactive kind of mini demo environment. So you guys can kind of go through our story lane and you can see different areas of the system, obviously not just around reporting. So if you guys did want to check that out, obviously feel free to check out our website. Like I said, got more case studies and various other things that you guys can see. And that also brings me nicely on to the next point, where on our website, we also have comparisons around other softwares out there. And looking at the poll results, so far everybody who's voted in the poll has voted that they're on Xero currently. So you can go onto the AccountsIQ website and see our comparison within Xero. Hopefully you've seen the kind of functionality that you get within the reporting today at AccountsIQ that you don't get from softwares like Xero. But appreciate everybody's time today. Like I said, feel free to book in time on my diary. You've got my email address there as well, so you can feel free to ping me an email if you had any questions off the back of this. But thank you all for joining, and wish you all the best of the rest of your day. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.